So then when I went back training for the MDS, I was unsure on how my knee would hold up. But thankfully, uh, it was okay. Now the first training session was incredibly low level and basic. Like I was literally just jogging out 25 meters and walking back just to see where it was at.
Damien, back to
Um,
the 2 laps around the pitch again.
it was very much that.
That same bloke.
Yeah, yeah. But then I built and built and built over 7 months. But you know, just explaining that might give people an understanding of my outlook then. It was just about completing it. And there was about 1,100, I think. It was either 1,100 or 1,300 people started the MDS my year, 2016, and 900 finished. And I think I was somewhere around 700. So I was a little bit ahead of the camels, but I wasn't exactly setting the world alight. But then
Congratulations,
again,
mate. To
I
finish
was,
that. Jeez.
in my defense, if it's needed, like I must have been, as far as I could see, I was the heaviest person there by a good 30 kilos, 20 kilos anyway, a lot of the field are French because it started by a French guy called Patrick Bauer. And I speak French from my time in living and playing in France, but I was walking around with a little number with your name on it that says your nationality. So they wouldn't have really, thought that I speak French. So I was hearing a lot of the comments about my size from the Frenchies. Jesus, look at the size of this fella. What's he doing here? That type of thing. Um, but yeah, no, I was able to get to the end without seeing any camels coming up my arse, thankfully.
And then thinking of the amount of discomfort that you went through during that 6 days, like question one is, how did your feet go? Okay. Did you look after your feet appropriately so you got through okay with your feet?
I did, yeah. I realized that was like the major threat to not finishing outside of not having prepared physically very well. So what I did was I had a kind of strategy to build up a tolerance with my feet. So about 7 weeks before I left for the Mountain de Sable, I strapped my feet for a day with this tape, zinc oxide tape. It's pretty hard wearing tape, with the intention of wearing it, putting it on the night before we starting and wearing it for the whole event. And whatever the fuck happens under there happens, and I'll get through it. And then a week later, so I give it 6 days to skin, 6 days to recover, and then a week later I put on the tape for 2 days, 5 days to recover. So I did that up until I kept it on for 5 days, and then I took a big break of about 10 days, and then I felt like I had at least built some tolerance for the skin on my feet to to the harshness of the zinc oxide tape. So then when I got to the MDS the night before we started, I strapped my feet up, and then I didn't take off that tape until we finished, and they were fine. Worked well. I also, a big problem is what happens to people is you wear a thing called a gaiter around your trainer, and that's meant to stop the sand getting into the trainer, and then the sand acts as a kind of a friction against your skin, and it cuts up your skin, and that's how people get blisters and all that. So what I did with my gaiters was I went to a local cobbler, and I got him to stitch the gaiters in around, like, so there was a perfect seam
Oh,
to my Asics trainers that I used. Because what I've seen people do is just Velcro them on, but then the Velcro starts rubbing or kind of almost peeling up, and the sand will get everywhere. Like,
nice.
so I had barriers, so I had the stitched in gaiter, I had good socks, and I had the tape. So I had barriers to the sand getting to my skin, and it worked a treat for me. You know, every evening at the MDS when you finish the stage, there's a tent with they call it the dock trotters, and they look after people's feet if you want. and you can go in and have a look around, and it's like a horror show in there. Like it's like something out of a mash tent, you know.
Yeah.
So I was aware of that, and I was very much concentrated on doing everything in my power not to let that happen, and thankfully, what I did worked very well for me.
Great preparation. Well done. And then,
Yeah, well, the success is in the preparation, right?
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. So then, okay, you dealt with the feet, which is amazing and can be an ongoing source of pain and defeat in that example. So then how did you deal with the physical pain? And actually, let me jump ahead because what I'm super interested in, did your evolution from doing the marathon, the Sables through the desert, to rowing across the ocean 2 times, not just once, twice, and all that's involved with that, there has to be a strategy internally in which you deal with pain. And so what I'm curious is maybe the internal dialogue from running through the desert for 6 days in did everybody catch that in the desert, everyone, doing a marathon, not just one but a few of them. So there has to be some dialogue inside that enables you to deal with that. And then maybe in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, when we get to the rowing stories, I'd be so curious to say, did the same mantra come up with running through the desert as it did on the first row and then on the second row? And even because, the second row was a lot longer than the first row did after 70 days. You just go, oh, well, that little dialogue routine doesn't work anymore. I'm going to have to find something else. So back to the original question with the marathon, and almost we're dangling the carrot, people, because here's what's coming. How did you deal with that amount of physical pain for 6 days getting through the desert?
Well, the first thing I found around physical stress, distress, discomfort, sometimes it borders on pain, is that you should expect it. You know, you should, like, I absolutely expect it. I want it. You know, I'm going there because I know the rewards that come from going into those places, embracing physical stress, embracing discomfort. I want them. So that mindset straight away changes your whole outlook on physical distress. Like, so you know it's coming. Not only that, is that you want it to come. You're expecting it. You're not trying to avoid it. You're not hoping it doesn't come. You're not in any way tentative. You're attacking it. And that's a huge game changer in when it does come. And when it does come, there's all sorts of strategies I use to navigate it, but they're practices. They're things that I have practiced every day in my preparation, or nearly every day in my preparation, to get to that point. They're not things I just employ a week beforehand. They're not
Mm.
things I just employ when I get there. They're psychological organizations that I practice and sharpen every day or every other day, or whenever I train, whenever I push my body within its preparations. And so that when the physical stress comes, I am practiced, I'm trained at using them. So I'm able to employ them. Because what physical stress does, for physical discomfort, physical pain, it drives your mind into what I call first level thinking, because of the lived experience, the cellular experience that you have from discomfort, pain, stress. You go into like this focus on it and its effects and how long is left, or something that's not in your control, like the outcome. So it's about bringing your mind back into your control through what you think about on a very simple level. And as far as I'm concerned, that there's four things that you can focus your concentration on, a specific part of them, four actions. And when you do, it brings your mind back under your control. It neutralizes your state. It brings you away from that negative state into a neutral state where you can continue to perform without any detrimental effects on your performance. And those four actions are the body position and technique of whatever you're doing. So in this case, in the Mountain des Sables, it's the body position, the ideal, the best practice body position of the running motion and the technique involved in that. The second one is your breath. That is always within your control, no matter how much stress you are experiencing, how much discomfort you are experiencing. Third one is your effort. So again, always within your control. It's always within my control how much force I am generating through my left leg and my right leg. And then the last one is your self-talk, which is what you were alluding to. That is always within my control. Again, no matter how much pain and discomfort I'm going through. If I am aware of my internal narrative, I can change it. So a great way for people to think about these four things is before control, which those things are, before control comes awareness. So the first thing is you have to be aware of your mental state. And the second thing is then you can redirect away from that negative state by concentrating on one of these four control. I call them the four controllables. So body position and technique, breath, effort, self-talk. And when you focus your concentration on a specific action of one of those things, you automatically you dial in that mind-body connection that neutralizes you become present basically. You know, all of a sudden, if I'm going from thinking about how much pain is in, I don't know, let's say my lower back from driving up sand dunes and plodding along the flat, soft sand where you can't really generate any force because the ground keeps moving from underneath, the sand keeps moving from underneath your feet. So then your lower back gets tight and it might get painful after a while. If I'm concentrating on that, that's not within my control. What's within my control is the position of my lower back. So then I might bring my concentration to my core, my trunk area, and try and tighten that up, or to my upper back and try and lengthen through my spine, or to my left quad and how much effort I am generating through that. So it's just bringing that mind muscle connection. And the minute I do that, I am present. And the minute I'm present, I cannot be anything but present. I can't be stressed. I can't be anxious. I can't be overwhelmed. I can't be joyous. I can't be happy. I can just be present. And that is the nirvana of what you might call mental strength, because you can continue to perform. You can push through those moments of doubt by neutralizing your mind and continue to perform.